Welcome to the all-new Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group's guide to the Marvel Comics of the week. As always, I am Phil Parrish, and joining me is...
Charlie Esser.
Alright, good week. I will start... well, aren't they all Marvel ones?
Yes. We love Marvel. They're the best.
Yes, we do. They should reciprocate that love and send us free comics.
But then they wouldn't love us because we weren't buying them, so, you know.
Yes, but we would convince so many others to buy them.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Sure, as soon as we have the ratings number, they'll be more than happy to supply.
Well, I know we can dream, but
Yeah.
all right. I will kick us off with Extraordinary X-Men number 15.
Was it extraordinary?
It was all right. I'm just now.
You want to change the name then? It's the all right X-Men.
No, maybe it's just, I don't know, the way, now in the world of comics, when we get news so far ahead of time, now all the news with all the new X-Men books, I'm just like eyeing this book like, okay, let me see if I can see them starting to wrap stuff up. All right, so we get Storm and Magic looking for Sapna. They're like traveling through different dimensions. Then you have like the rest of the X-Men, capturing Colossus because he's under Apocalypse's control. They do capture him. They take him back to X-Haven and lock him up. And Apocalypse keeps it because like Forge is like, I don't know if I can turn give Colossus his mind back and all this. And Apocalypse is like, the answer's easy. All you have to do is let me go and I'll give you Colossus back. And they're like, yeah, that's not happening. And then Storm and Magic, or like I said, they're searching through the dimensions. They go back, they meet up with those superhumans they were battling, what was it, last issue? But they come to a truce when one of them scans their minds. But they tell them, you don't have a chance, because I guess the big thing that ravaged their Earth and a bunch of others was, what do they call it? It's like the World Ender or something. Oh, the World Eater. I guess the title was open since Galactus isn't using it now, But they're telling them it's anti-magic, it is anti-life. It's
The anti-life equation?
They didn't say equation. Probably copyrighted. But it has Sapna now, so they're like, "Oh, your friends lost you." And then guess who comes knocking on the door of X-Haven to attack? It's the possessed Sapna with a bunch of demon-looking things.
Oh, that's never good.
Nope. And yeah, that's how the issue ends with the attack. Oh yeah, and one of the students, Glob. You know Glob? He's like a skeleton, and it looks like he's like wrapped in like Jello.
Yeah, he's like, that's the kid with the translucent skin.
Yeah.
Yes. What's his power aside from being translucent?
I don't know if he has a power. I mean, maybe like durability or something. But
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually pretty good power.
But yeah, well, he has the hots for Jean Grey.
Well, who doesn't have the hots for Jean Grey? And Jean Grey knows it.
He's probably like, I know I have a chance now that Wolverine's collecting AARP. Now I have a chance.
One hopes so.
But yeah, it was good. It's a thumbs up.
Yay. Okay. Well, speaking of teen superheroes, I'm going to open up with Ms. Marvel, number 12, number 1 of the Now line. Now, Shattered Now. $4.99 book. $4.99 because they like jammed in an extra teen hero in the back that like you're like, okay, I guess they're selling that.
Hey, that wasn't the most expensive book they had on sale this week, Charlie.
Oh, I'm sure. So Newark Liberty International Airport. You have Kamala Khan being pulled out for special attention by the TSA agent,
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of interesting. It's kind of nice because basically she's given the agent what for, And the agent just taking it and saying, yep. He says, let me guess, there's some kind of security alert for a random guy named Khan. He says, yep. And you know that like half the Pakistanis and a third of the Indians are named Khan? He says, yep.
No.
That's a lot of people to frisk. She goes, yep. Have a nice day, Miss Khan. Thanks. Basically, the plot line is, and of course, she sees Bruno, who's getting on the last flight to Wakanda, just as she's getting on the last flight to Pakistan because she needs to go somewhere, get away from Jersey City, reconnect with her roots, as it were. And she meets her whole enormous family in Pakistan, where her grandmother basically has an apartment building where her and her husband bought an apartment, and then their kids bought an apartment, and then their kids bought an apartment. Eventually, they owned the whole building. We find out that Kamala is getting a room, but her Dutch cousin, who is actually not related to her, but is like the friend of an aunt's sister's son, so he's totally, not off limits. Wink, wink. We'll get back to that later. But basically, they're talking in the hall, and they're being kind of a little bit flirty, and then someone yells at him, like, how can you be, you're talking to a girl who you're not related to in the middle of the house, in your indoor clothes. Oh, sorry. And then you find out that, everyone's kind of treating Kamala, like the foreigner, which she is. She's from America, but she came back here to reconnect and be like, oh, this is where I'm finally going to fit in. And no, she doesn't. Then you hear this big explosion because people are blowing up water hydrants because there's these water cartels that are trying to control things. And she's like, I'm not here to be a superhero. I'm not here to get involved. And she's doing her stuff. She's doing the touristy stuff, hanging out with this guy who she's all flirty with, trying to sort out her head. But then when another explosion rocks another water station nearby, she says, I got to do something. And apparently she shares a balcony with her Dutch cousin. And, she says, something's got to happen. Something's got to go. I says, yeah, well, I should get back to bed. And he says, me too. And she comes out because she didn't bring her costume, but she makeshifts a new Ms. Marvel costume and goes to get the bad guys. She finds the water truck that is rolling away. She stops it, catches it, takes out the bad guys, smashes the truck in classic American superhero fashion. Bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden, the Red Dagger shows up, who is a local superhero and is so obviously her Dutch cousin, although we're not even going to mention it. And he basically gives her saying, hey, look, you got to check with the local superheroes when you come into town. Don't start busting up stuff. Yeah, what they're doing is wrong, but these are low-level guys. And quite frankly, a lot of people don't like the water monopoly of the state. So, it's this, that, and the other. It's a messed up situation, and I appreciate the help, but next time just check in. And they meet in the hallway the next day, neither one acknowledging that they both know. Well, they don't know each other's secret identities because this is the Marvel universe. And but you had a mask on. How could I possibly know who you were, even though you're the exact same height, build, and sound exactly the same? But they meet in the hallway again, drinking their chai tea as they go off. And next issue, Kamala back in Jersey City because she realizes she has to get back in Jersey City. First story, great story, thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. It's nice to see. It's such a great teen girl story because it is about I need to find my roots. Oh, this isn't my roots. What I thought was going to be here isn't here, and now I got to go back to where my real roots are. I got to find my real place to be. And then this next story, I don't know what it is. It's a cute enough story. It's very Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.y, and not in a good way. We have this character who I guess maybe is from another storyline called the Red Widow. This is called Last Opus, where she's like all ninja-y, taking out 3 S.H.I.E.L.D. guys at once, even though in the 2 of the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys are fighting in a previous scene, so I don't know exactly how. Maybe it's a battle royale. And she and the other Shield cadets are training, and she basically gives her origin, which was basically she had her brain quantumly entangled with Natasha, so anything Natasha knows, she knows. Then they find out that the bad guy Ivan was building this special thing, and I guess Red Widow found out about Natasha's little younger brother, which she found out about, and who she eventually had a crush on, which was weird because her and Natasha could read each other's minds. Then they all go to do this fight thing to blow up the weapon, the MacGuffinatron, which does of course blow up, but of course it results in her getting powers of some sort, which I'm guessing is some sort of super shield training or something. Though I'm not quite sure why she wouldn't have already had super shield training if she shared a brain with Natasha. So anyway, she's now the Red Widow. She's, I guess, teen sidekicking or teen heroing alongside the Black Widow. Oh, she's got like swords that are electric, so maybe that's what her power is. I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see Black Widow Red Vengeance as part of the all-new Marvel Now. That's from from New York Times bestselling author Margaret Stoll. Read more about Red Widow in the novel, The Black Widow Red Vengeance. Oh, I see. So it's actually, I guess it's a promo for this novel. So very cool. I mean, it's a neat enough character. It's just not something that I don't know exactly why she's put into a Ms. Marvel book, except for, well, it's another teen girl superhero, and you folks like teen girl superheroes, don't you? Here you go. Here's another one. This one's got red hair. And that's why we paid $4.99 for this book, and cue cash register sound effect. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm easy to...
All right, then I will go to Guardians of the Galaxy number 13, another big Civil War II tie-in. What?
Oh, no, we got a lot of Civil War II tie-ins, and it's weird because like all the Civil War II tie-ins this month seem to take place after the book Civil War II, so it's a little confusing.
Yeah, because the main miniseries is late, but yeah, at the end of the last issue, we found out that Gamora knows that the Ultimates have Thanos locked up in the Triskelion. So, after their ship blows up and everything, Gamora's like, Thanos is here, and she's trying to get in the building, but she's stopped by like some shield agents, I guess in Mandroid armor. It looks like maybe. So she's fighting them, trying to get around them. But then Carol Danvers comes in and she's like, stop this right now. And Gamora's like, you have Thanos here. And Carol says, I'm not doing this right now. And so Gamora takes a couple shots at Carol, but Carol like blasts her down. But then Peter Quill, Star-Lord, tries to like get in the middle, and Carol tells him, I have this. She's like, take your team outside. And Peter says, I think you need to take this outside. And Carol says, fine. And she grabs Gamora and rockets into the air, where Gamora's still punching her. And Carol says, fine. And like, I don't know how high up they are, but she drops her in the ocean.
Well,
Yeah.
She is Captain Marvel after all.
Yeah, but
punching just isn't very effective.
Yeah, so they come up to a beach, and Carol's telling her she has to settle down and stop this, and Gamora, is telling her, you betrayed me. I came all the way across the galaxy to sacrifice my life for your cause, and I find out you have Thanos and you didn't tell me. And, Carol's like, because I knew you would act just like this.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. She's like, Carol's like, I didn't tell you, she's like, she said, I didn't tell you because I knew you'd act exactly like this. She's like, I can't have it. The Earth can't have it. The galaxy can't have it. She's like, you are a beautiful, perfect warrior, except for this, except when it comes to him. And then she's like,
true that.
She's like, I can't fight friends anymore. I just can't. Quill was right. I should have told you. And that's when Gamora goes, Quill knew? She's like, Quill knew Thanos was on Earth? And she's like, you tell Quill we are done. I will no longer travel with him. I will no longer align myself with him. and he should make sure not to cross my path.
Oh, no more Guardians.
And Carol's like, no, don't blame him. It's my fault. And that's when Gamora like drop kicks her across the beach, and she goes, "That goes double for you." And then Gamora takes off. So Carol calls Maria Hill and tells her, she's like, Gamora's out in the wild. Lock down whatever's left of the building. Then she tells her she's on her way back, but then she gets stopped by some people. I guess who are having a bonfire on the beach, and they're telling her, the one girl's telling her, "We saw the Hulk trial. We saw what you did and you're trying to do, and you're right." She's like, people always complain about not being kept safe, but then they have the nerve to complain about how people are doing it. She says, "You're keeping us safe. Keep doing what you're doing." And Carol's like, "Thank you. I actually needed that."
Yep.
So she takes off, and then back at the Triskelion, Rocket and the others find out that Peter knew that Thanos was locked up here, and because Rocket's yelling at him, and he says, he's like, you thought it was better to keep this secret, with Captain Marvel than to tell us, and Peter's trying to tell him, no, it's not like that, and Rocket's all like, he's like, because you, me, and Drax, we've been through hell because of that Thanos. So I guess they said Angela already took off, but Rocket and Drax both take off. They don't want to hang out with Peter. So basically it's just him, Kitty Pryde, and Groot standing there saying, "I'm Groot." But then the last page, Charlie, someone else has found out that Thanos is on Earth in the Triskelion, and they're very interested.
And who would that be?
In the Negative Zone, it's Annihilus and the Brood Queen.
Oh, good old buddies.
Yeah, the Queen's like, Thanos is on Earth, and Annihilus is like, I think that deserves our attention.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, they were supposed to do a team up a while back, and it got like all upended, I think.
At darn Civil War too. But yeah, good issue. Yeah. Thumbs up.
Yay, thumbs up. Okay, I'm going to go with New Avengers number 17, also a Civil War 2 tie-in. Although only tangentially, because really, but this, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna, this is my pick of the week. I love this on a lot of levels. Aside from the fact that we just get, see, here's what I'm gonna say. I don't really know much about DaCosta prior to New Avengers, okay? So there are people that are saying, oh, well, he was never the super genius before. It's like, I don't care. He's a super genius now. I love it. I'm loving that he is basically Batman with, superpowers, and is being this guy who is really, really all together. And we get to the opening of this story, and we hear, I remember it very clearly. This is the Maker talking. I was standing in the heart of the last universe, facing a broken version of myself, and I asked a question. Who's interested in a weepy god? And I got the answer. Me. And then, did you know one can actually holistically enjoy pizza? And it comes in slices. And we see little Owen Weiss essentially slicing up the Maker. Says, God took me to pieces. Says, well, not God, but the one whose power made this reality, the demiurge, so to speak, Owen Reese. If there was a God in the mix, he was already in chains. Anyway, the multiverse began again, and as Reese powered it up, he put a little slice of me in every slice of it. An individual me, walking, talking, plotting, but the same me with the same mission. The holistic man, stretching through all that is. Reed made a choice, you see, the right choice. The other Reed, he's a dreamer. And maybe the universe needs its dreamers, but it also needs the people who make things happen. That's me. And this universe is a very happening place, Mr. President. Maker at 30,000 feet attempting to kidnap the President of the United States. This universe, the last survivor of the old reality, firstborn of the new, the central point around which everything works, Universe Prime. From here, with the resources your ransom will bring me, Mr. President, I can remerge the multiverse, reunite the slices, create a stronger eternity, strong enough for the war that's coming. So really, I'm the hero of this story. Really, because I thought that was me. Music, please. And he says, your voice, oh no, that's Mission Impossible theme. And then you see him pull off the mask, and it's not Obama, it's DaCosta. right the first time. And go flashback weeks ago, the main Whisper base. Remember that DaCosta had it bugged. What do you think about kidnapping the president? Says what? Just a plan B. If the AIM thing doesn't work out, go after Air Force One, grab the head honcho, and sell him. Hydra would drown us in tech. Says you can't just don't tell me what I can't do, Brad. You can't even steal a truck full of processors from Tokyo without getting caught. Don't you sass me. Thanks again for busting me out of jail, sir, and not dissecting me. Can I ask you a personal question, Brad? Answer truthfully. Have you ever washed your jumpsuit? Since then, Brad, you're killing me. Come on. This is meant to be a sterile environment. You got to get the humor. And that's one of the things I love about New Avengers. It just, you get that humor even as they're fighting. And go flashback to last issue. We see Payback and Hulkling fighting. Hulk, basically Payback saying, "Hi, I'm the Super Skrull of my universe. My job was to destroy the anointed Super Skrull of the endless and bounteous Skrull Terran Confederacy. My job is to end hybrid trash like you." It says, "Yeah, well, I know the Super Skrull. I've beaten the Super Skrull, and guess what? You're no Super Skrull." Then he gets DaCosta on the line. And you may recall DaCosta got shot the last scene, except now he stands up. Well, actually, first we see the other Avengers trying to take out what's his name, Garrett. Garrett does have countermeasures, but then, of course, DaCosta's back up. He punches him and he says, "What? I killed you. Shot you in the head." He says, "Yeah, and that really hurt. Lucky for me. I don't keep anything important in there." And we see that actually that was Hulkling the whole time. We see Squirrel Girl and the White Tigers fighting the Dum Dum Dugans. Aiku Jokinen and Dr. Tony Ho are talking, and they say, there is a way to there's one person that can stop the army of Dum Dum Dugans, and I know who it is. And meanwhile, cut back, we see the Maker says, "Bravo, little Bobby No Powers. Got over this MPOC cough long enough to save the president. You think it's over? Whisper wasn't a building. It's not something you can just blow up. It's an organism, intricate and autonomous. All I did was set it in motion and bask in the adulation. The true Whisperer has plans to make even my head spin. Ever hear of Nadia Pym? You won't have, not until it's too late. And that's just one piece of my jigsaw." Oh, I wonder. It's an interesting thing about Whisper. We might get to it in a little bit. You think you're ahead of the game. Your little mind couldn't comprehend one facet of my thinking, DaCosta. You think stealing Air Force One puts you on my... Oh, I didn't steal Air Force One. He says, "What? The walls, the security people there, not real. Although they did fall over very conveniently. A bravura performance by the best actor I know. Cue Mission Impossible thing. All of this is just a mask to pull off, Maker. Worn by a very special friend of mine. Affirmative. Self-enemy Maker thinks self-friends can't compute self-enemies thinking. Colloquial statement. Back at you, creep. Is this damned reality? I love when he's so mad at this, how bad the physics are in this reality. I'm the Tronicus. You're in his system. In a system Warlock mocked up in his biosecurity, specifically to cage him. It's not how many schemes and fake outs you have, Maker. It's how good you are at it. And it turns out I'm the best. For example, everyone thought I didn't have my powers anymore, including you. Guess what? It's kind of the opposite. Fake out. And he powers up. Starts beating him, and he says, "But you know what? I'll happily take it." He says, "Oh, we dropped some misdirection to fool prying eyes, and it's not like I use my powers since I got sick unless I really truly have to. See, thanks to the MPOX, there's a cost. But you know what? I'll happily take a year off my life, or 2, or okay, 5. If it means taking you down for keeps. Warlock, set course for the United States. Tell them we have the man who formed Whisper in custody." Meanwhile, we see, right now I don't trust S.H.I.E.L.D. with him. I says, right now I don't trust S.H.I.E.L.D. with him. And we see the fight going on with Garrett, and all of a sudden, all the dum-dums start getting confused, and then one of them goes, Then one of them says, "Where am I?" And it says, "You're right here, Dum Dum Dugan." Then you see, "Meet Dum Dum Dugan, the real one. I'm so sorry." You see Tony Ho wheeling in a stasis chamber with Dum Dum Dugan's body. He says, "That's my body. Your wounds were fatal, but Nick Fury put the body in suspended animation, preserved the last glimmer of life. Then he broadcast your mind to a host of super LMDs, and you know the rest. You knew your mind is broadcast from a central source. Well, this is it. It's you. And we cut the super Wi-Fi, so you're so you're so you're getting a strictly local signal right now. That's cut Garrett's tampering out of the loop as well. Oh yeah, I remember Garrett. Says Dugan, I didn't know. I thought you were just a robot. It was for the good of Shield. He says wrong. This is for the good of Shield. And then he cuts off Garrett's head with one punch. And then he says, Dugan, I can explain. He says, I'll bet. Get ready for the performance review of a lifetime, you little rodent. And he says, Dum Dum I. And you can save it too, Melissa. You got what you wanted. I'm calling a ceasefire. But I just found out I'm alive. All this time it was the real me. My mind in a prosthetic body. And Nick Fury, my best friend, let me go through hell instead of just telling me the truth. And so did you. He says, I swear to them, I didn't know. None of us did. You're telling the truth. It was just me. We worked it out after we met you. While S.H.I.E.L.D. was looking for your signal, your tech, we went looking for you. And we found you. I guess Fury didn't want his enemies doing that. Or yours. I'd heard about that Craig guy. He'd have thrown that tube in a car crusher. Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. And I'll buy that Nikki thought he was protecting me. Still don't make it right, though, does it? We didn't want to tell you, but Roberto said, Roberto da Costa, well, doesn't that just figure? I think me and him need to have some words. So where is he now? Cut to somewhere else. And what's this cell made out of? Sheer tech? Max's stuff right? A new application, though. Dimensionally opaque force field, so I can't get out or bring anything in. You honestly think you can stop me? Whisper's alive. It can move on its own, and it'll come for its makers. Yeah. You call that a mad scientist? General Robert L. Maverick. You may remember him as the man who created Todd Ziller, the American kaiju. Arm wrestles mad science twice daily and loves it. I've seen madder science at my daughter's school fair, son, and I ain't impressed by you either. So you're a bad enough dude to save the president? So what? I write my own name in every 4 years. You made John Garrett look stupid. His mustache got there first. It's pitiful. You want a deal? You want your people in from the cold with a back rub from Uncle Sam? We need more from you, fella. We need the big crazy. And what's bigger and crazier than AIM versus S.H.I.E.L.D., you ask? How about AIM versus AIM? Every iteration, every splinter group, every yellow jumpsuit gone in just 24 hours. Starting here, starting now. Sit back and watch, General, because the grand finale is about to begin. To be concluded. Next issue. R.I.P. New Avengers. Yeah. Pick of the week. Fantastic book. Always great. I'm sad it's ending. I'm glad we're getting U.S. Avengers after it. And it is going to be a wondrous, wondrous sight. Thumbs up.
Very good. All right. I guess I will go to Totally Awesome Hulk number 11.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I actually read this one.
Yeah. Well, it starts in Austin, Texas, where Maddie, Amadeus' sister, is trying to track down the monster, which it appears to be a young. You think he? I think he looks Asian to me. I'm wondering if that's supposed to be like a metaphor or whatever for Amadeus himself.
Well, when I first saw it, I thought that was Amadeus.
Yeah.
Wait, why did Amadeus have the box cutter? And it was very interesting.
But
but I guess that's what you call metaphor.
But yeah, he starts to transform. But then in Potter Junction, Arkansas, Amadeus as the Hulk is still battling Black Panther, who's holding him down with the armor because he tells him, my armor absorbs energy. The more you fight, the weaker you get and the stronger I get. He says, give up, Amadeus, or I will drain your strength and teleport you to the negative zone. Just like they were going to do to Banner when he was going to go nuclear. But then Maddie calls Amadeus for help, which I guess gets him angry or frustrated enough. He He starts taking
He
out the
shows up in power.
what? Oh yeah.
A new power.
He kind of he used I guess what I guess he uses his gamma energy to set off like a mini EMP.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll call it a gamma burst power. And I guess this is part of having that super genius mind in the body of the Hulk. That he's thinking of other ways he could use his powers, and that's pretty awesome.
So yeah, he takes out the Panther's armor and he takes off. And then the Shield agent's like, "Well, we can teleport him to the negative zone now." And the Panther's like, "No, wait a second. He isn't headed for Barton because he was after Clint Barton." Uh, so Maddie's trying to hold off what looks like some kind of insect monster, which I guess feeds off emotions because he's talking about fear and grief, anger.
Maddie's not giving him anything.
Nope, just keeping her emotions in check. But the creature is about to looks like kill her, but then Amadeus falls out of the sky, starts battling the creature, who interestingly enough can like hurt him. He's like every time he scratches him, he's drawing blood off of Amadeus.
Oh yeah, well he's well, and this is what kind of annoyed me there. They didn't use this line that I really wanted them to use, which was, "The madder you get, the stronger I get." Because he feeds off that thing, and of course Amadeus says, "Oh, you thought well, I'll let you run it."
But yeah, so so the creature's attacking him. He's fighting back, and Maddie's yelling, quit feeding him, all these negative emotions, and then Amadeus starts pounding on him, and he says, "The Panther didn't get it. You don't get it. I didn't even really get it until today, but nothing in this world can stop me, because I'm the strongest one there is." Then the creature gets back up and says, "Yes, pride, love it." So he starts ripping into him, and guess does enough damage where Amadeus looks like he hits the ground, maybe passes out for a couple seconds. But then the creature grabs a young child out of the crowd and takes off, and that's when the Panther and Shield Agent Jake O show up, and Maddie's yelling at Amadeus, "When are you going to listen?" And he's standing in front of Maddie and Black Panther, and Amadeus says, I, please help." So I guess he's figured out maybe he's not the strongest or the smartest.
Well, or at least he just needs help,
Uh-huh.
Even Reed Richards needed 3 other people.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good issue. Thumbs up. Yet another tangential crossover with Civil War 2.
Yeah. Well, it's like sometimes the crossovers have nothing to do with the crossovers except for, well, I guess this does have to do it because it does stem from the events of Barton killing it, but again, only tangentially, because they really, that gives us our setup, but our actual bleeding plot is something different. Okay, completely not related to Civil War in any way. Let's go to Nighthawk number 6, our final issue, I believe, which is very sad because this was a really great book, but for whatever reason, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't moving. But like I said, I think that David F. Walker, who we hope will be coming on our show eventually,
waiting to hear back.
Yeah, we're waiting. Really informed this character of Nighthawk, this legend of Nighthawk, and I think has built into this mythos something that is really fantastic. And I hope he gets a chance to explore it more in the future. And I hope other people pick up his ball and run with it and do even better things with it. But I'm just really loving his Nighthawk character. So we open up now, as you recall, last issue. Our good cop got stabbed by the bad cop. Nighthawk had to murder him, and the cop is dying, bleeding out, as his partner has the gun on Nighthawk, and he's like, "No, he just saved my life. Trust me. Just call an ambulance, please. I don't want to die." They work it out. We see her dealing with, the blood on her hands and everything she's gone through and all this stuff. Nighthawk goes to go after the bad guys. Nightshade back at the base. Man, I'm so mad we never got to see her in the field. That is my big regret, that we never got Nighthawk and Nightshade in the field working together. She did fight Captain America, We see Nighthawk take a moment out of his day to murder a couple of gang members. because cross promotional, and basically the ones that are left, he says, you got these guns from people trying to instigate the war in your neighborhood. You're fighting a war that's not even for you. They go to the Dan Hanrahan, who we have found out is the supplier of the guns. Um, uh, at the home of Dan Hanrahan, he sees that his apartment has been smashed, ransacked. Hanrahan's gone. Um, and basically, Nighthawk figures, the reason, they figured out the reason why is, you increase the violence in the neighborhood, you lower the property value, you buy it up, run everyone out, and then build up on it and make a huge profit. Basic Marvel Comics evil corporation model of have you tried killing them yet? Now we get to the Revelator here. And man, I'll tell you, they're definitely, like I said, they never say my theory, which is that this is the Kyle Rayner, the African American Kyle Rayner from this, or not Kyle Rayner, what's his name?
Kyle Richmond.
Kyle Richmond from this universe, but they don't mention it. Dave White comes on. I'm going to ask him if he comes on. I'm going to ask him, was that going to be his intention? Was that his desire? They're definitely drawing the Revelator much bigger, much stronger in this, so he looks a lot more physically like him. Obviously, this guy's got scars in his face. He's got his face and head shaved, so he's definitely a different-looking guy. His face is always in the shadow, so you don't really know. Of course, that maybe even feeds into what Tilda said the last scene, which is he's just every black man who's been screwed over by the man, as it were. But there are things he says, like when Nighthawk come. Oh, and before we get Nighthawk saving the day, well, sort of, we get the other cop back at the station basically saying that after her partner was killed by the corrupt cop, she went and snapped the other cop's neck. And they're like, really? You snapped his neck? He says, yeah, adrenaline. She doesn't say that. She says, you killed Dixon with your bare hands. He says, that's exactly what happened, sir. Nighthawk comes, saves the day, beats the heck out of, Tilda is Nightshade is basically telling him, he says, be careful, it's a long drop. He says, but the man you're about to save from a killer is an illegal arms dealer. Worse than that, he's a gentrifier. You really want to save someone like him? And he says, really? To the Revelator who's shooting nails from a nail gun with him, he says, you brought nails, but I am the hammer. He says, it's over. And the fat, punch, kick, punch. The Revelator is... it's not over till I say it's over. And he picks up a buzzsaw and he says, why are you trying to stop me? I know you understand. I know you. He says, which is why I think maybe that's who he's supposed to be, but I don't know. He gets, and then Nightshade saves him by having one of the Owl drones or the Nighthawk drones knock the Revelator off of Nighthawk, and they go to fight, and then Nighthawk steps out of the way, and the Revelator falls to his death. I didn't see a body. Then we see the bad guy saying, "Help me! I'm going to die. Please help me." He says, "I know about the guns. I know that it was you importing them, working with the true patriots. You're going to destroy a community for profit." He says, "It's not like that. Those people, they were... You know how they are." He says, "No, how are they?" He says, "I need medical attention. Please help me." "You want me to help you? Please." "I didn't come to save you." He says, "I'm not here to help. I came here for a reason. I came to watch you die." That's just messed up, quite frankly. But again, this is Nighthawk, and that is not out of character for him.
Yes.
He vanquished our Joker, but he doesn't have something where he's got to save, a guy who's just as bad just because he was the villain, I'm sure if he'd gotten there earlier, if the guy might have survived, he might have done something, but right now, he is not feeling it. Thumbs up for the final issue of Nighthawk. Very sad to see it go. Very dark, very fascinating book. Just a great exploration of, what a Batman who did his job might look like. And, still don't know how a guy came from an alternate universe and still wound up a billionaire, but hey, we'll go along with it for now. Like I said, thumbs up, big thumbs up for Nighthawk. It was a good book. Great way to end this series. I hope we get the series back.
Well, good news though, Charlie. Nighthawk will be appearing in Occupy Avengers, the first issue of which is on sale next week.
Oh, sweet. And it's that same writer, so maybe we'll get Tilda back.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I bought this book for Tilda. I have had a thing for Nightshade since I first read about her in the Handbook to the Marvel Universe, in her little leather bikini. Yes, I'm not proud of that fact, but the fact that she was a genius, terrorist, ninja character, I loved her, man. She was awesome, and she never got enough play, and I was so happy to see her here, and just so glad to see her not only fighting for the quote-unquote righteous, but also just being a hero in her own right and seeing the Nighthawk explore. So, yeah. Oh, and I read the preview on Occupy Avengers. Definitely picking that up. That is definitely next week. That is definitely on next week's list.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
Even with Hawkeye. Although, man, I don't know. Do you get like a total Green Arrow, Green Lantern vibe on that book?
Maybe, yeah. Although, like I said, eventually Nighthawk's going to be there. Red Wolf's going to be on the team. I just had the vibe I got was is he going to form like a new West Coast Avengers kind of.
Well, yeah, but West Coast Avengers were fun. I don't think these guys are going to have fun.
No.
This is doing what Nighthawk's doing, man. Just going in, finding the Roxxon jerks that are causing all the problems in the world and punching them in the nose because you solve problems by punching them in this universe. Because that's what makes the Maker so mad. It's like the universe just follows such crazy rules, and that's the rule in this universe. If you punch a problem, hopefully you can make it go away. What's your next book, Phil?
All right, well, I'm going to go with my pick of the week, Prowler #1. And
Ooh.
yeah, the read, it was a good story. I really enjoyed it, but the big reason this is my pick of the week is like I actually care about the Prowler for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, Before he was just like first a villain, then it was just some guy that Spider-Man, helps Spider-Man every so often.
He
but
definitely gets a good story arc, a good character study in this. And for what it's worth, man, the new Jackal comes off real nice in this too. Yeah.
But it starts off in San Francisco with him with Prowler stopping a bank robbery. So he takes off after a cop asks him if he's San Francisco's newest superhero. He says, "No, I'm not a hero." Then
have to say that I'm no hero.
Yeah. So then back at the New U lab, I guess he's breaking up a fight between some of the resurrected supervillains like Jack-o'-lantern and I don't know who that other guy is. Jack-o'-lantern's fighting.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was supposed to be the Vulture or who, but he didn't have wings, so I don't know. Oh man, why would you resurrect Jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah, I just wonder if which version.
That's like. Well, guys, I guess there are other versions. Although that looks like the one that was a total sociopath in the Venom series.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that version or even the original version was Jason Macendale, who went on to be the second Hobgoblin. So I wonder if it's him because he was killed.
Okay, well maybe he's less sociopathic than the guy that was also dead and then just decided to start hypnotizing people to become himself. Doing that whole rewriting your brain thing. Oh,
yeah, if it's the original Jack-o'-lantern, he was just like a mercenary. So Prowler's so Prowler's breaking. Oh, looks like the tarantula's there too. But Prowler breaks up the fight, and then the Jackal says he wants to see him in his office, and he says, "What's going on out there?" And Prowler's like, "Yeah, some of the guys you brought back aren't really that stable." And Jackal said, "That's why I hired you to keep them in line." I'm thinking, hired? He killed him and brought him back.
Yeah, but he's also giving him a job. That's the thing. And yeah, he could be exploiting him, but he's trying to do right by him in this, at least the way it's being presented.
Yeah. So he's asking him, asking Prowler why he went out, and he's telling the Jackal that Madam Webb's, had a vision of this bank robber, so he tried to go out and stop it before everyone woke up in the morning. Jackal says you have to tell me before you leave the premises. Uh, he says I thought you believed in what we're doing here, and Prowler's like I do. He's like, well, you're the very embodiment of this technology, and he's he's like, yeah, well, yeah. After that new Electro killed me, and you brought me back. Uh,
Yeah.
and he's saying, I thought you of all people should appreciate the fresh start I'm giving to these bad guys. And that's when Prowler says, I was never a bad guy. So he's not a good guy, but he's not a bad guy, Charlie. He's not a
Yeah,
hero.
well,
Yeah.
like everyone, well, it's very common in the Marvel universe, man. Just it's so hard to live in this world with superheroes and trying to find a way that's not being a superhero. That's sort of what Patsy Walker's trying to do with her temp agency. How can you use your powers to move furniture and get jobs done quick and easy?
So yeah, he's telling Prowler how important he is to him. So is this true, or is he just feeding him a line? But he's telling him how important he is, and he's head of security. And Prowler's like, well, I can't just sit around here all day every day and go stir crazy. I got to get out. So I guess the Jackal's just like, just let me know when you're going out. But they're trying to find. But the Jackal gives them a job to find the hacker who's trying to hack into their systems.
Mm-hmm.
And in that panel, Charlie, they kind of give you like you can almost see almost up to the Jackal's nose.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear he has a Miles Warren mustache, so.
No, he's not a Miles Warren. I don't. I'm wondering if he is Kane because he doesn't seem to have a lot of scars either. So it's interesting to me who this guy might be. He definitely has the stubble, and that is clearly meant as a character trait, having stubble, which again is what made me think about Kane. Now, I don't know how scarred Kane was in his last version, and who knows, maybe his scars have healed.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing because he was like a bad guy, but then like all his scars got healed, and that's when he became the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's the case there. So yeah, I'm really pushing on Scarlet Spider there, and that would explain why he resurrected who is their intel expert.
Oh, Madam Web.
Yes. Who again seems to have the same dang power Ulysses has, predicting crimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought I thought they were bringing back all these people with in like in their the best version of themselves. Madam Web's old again. Couldn't they have cut some years off of her?
Yeah. Well. I don't know. I mean, maybe she's just dyeing her hair gray. I mean, she's got a pretty rockin' bod there, and we don't know if she can walk now or not.
Mm-hmm.
She could be. Of course, she's still blind, but maybe she needs to be blind to have her powers work. I don't know. There could be a weird thing like that, or maybe that's how her brain saw her. That's how her body wanted to come back. It's an interesting question, yes, because they didn't exactly give Otto abs either. So,
well, like I said,
that version of yourself might have some limitations.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think they're using this story to like reset the status quo, and maybe I don't know if they've finally realized they're like, man, we've killed off a lot of people in the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, but for what it's worth, there were a lot of people in the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Otto solves the clone degradation problem. Okay. And I really want to know if Otto's going to become a hero. Wouldn't it be fascinating if at the end of it all, Peter's the villain?
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. And you know why? What they're going to reveal?
What?
That the superior Spider-Man was Peter all along.
Ooh.
Because that's when it's going to come out that, that wasn't Otto. Yeah, you had Otto's memories, but that was you, Peter. You just freed yourself, and that's who you wanted to be, corrupt, venial, and, self-important. And Otto, all he wants to do is be the hero, and that's what's going to come out, because it's going to be the Peter resurrect, but it's actually the Otto spirit inside. It's going to be there. You watch, man. You mark my words.
Oh, I can't
wait. Slide's like, man, Charlie's giving away all my ideas. Got to change all this now. Dang you, Charlie. Come up with a brilliant idea, and then all of a sudden Charlie's like, oh, you know what that is? Like, that's like, oh, man. Shut up, man. Spoilers. You're ruining my gig. Got to write 2 more books now. Sure, that's why Civil War ran long. That's not Dan Slott. That's somebody else. That's Bendis. Bendis.
Newman Bendis. So
Okay.
yeah,
Moving right along.
so yeah, Prowler goes to Madam Web to try to give him a lead on the hacker, and so all she says is, it's weird. She says she's there's some kind of telepathic feedback that she never experienced before, but all she can see is a collection of buildings surrounded by black. They are empty but filled with agony, an agony that cannot escape, despite its yearning to do so. So Prowler goes to leave. He runs into the new Electro, who gives him a hard time. Then they have him going through the city, and his life is kind of flashing before his eyes. See his kind of his origin, and then his time with Silver Sable and her team, and then I'm glad they finally addressed this. I guess his wife left him because he picked his life as the Prowler over her. And how he was killed and brought back. And then he's trying to.
MJ left Peter.
That's all right. Well, Mephisto did that.
Well,
but
yes, that's the explanation.
Yeah. So Prowler's looking, and he thinks he sees buildings surrounded by black, filled with agony that can't escape. So is that Alcatraz?
Yeah, that's Alcatraz.
That's what I thought.
So these are all the ghosts of Alcatraz, most haunted place in America, they say. And they can never be free, but they're trapped there because they died in that prison, and the prison holds you even after death.
So Prowler breaks in. Looks like there's some kind of security, like an advanced security system, and then he's caught. And looks like, do those look like energy webs?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what that's supposed to be. It is a web themed villain, hero. I don't know yet.
Yeah, because there's someone. They show someone's there, but they don't show who. So yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Well, based on the legs we see, I'm guessing it's a female.
Oh, you think?
Based on the. Oh yeah. Based on. It's like every so often. I mean, that's my guess. Based on how they drew that foot, I'm thinking it's a female. My guess. My first thought was it's Jessica Drew.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, who that might be?
Who?
The other Spider-Woman from Secret War. Remember the black costume Spider-Woman who was on Freedom Force for a while?
Oh, okay, yeah, Julia Carpenter, yeah.
Julia Carpenter, and because she, of course, has the psychic web.
Oh, that might make some sense, because she after the original Madam Web died, she was like the new Madam Web for a while.
Oh, so she would know that Madam Web got resurrected.
Maybe.
And that would be why she wants to break in, because she knows someone is upsetting the web.
Maybe that's where that psychic feedback's coming from.
Exactly. That would make perfect sense. So there we go. Mark our words.
We're good. But that's my pick of the week. Big thumbs up.
Yeah, it was a good book. Okay, so let me go to, again, another final issue. This one, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 10. Gonna miss it. I did love the agents. We open up. Phil has been shot through the heart.
Oh
boy, how often does that happen to this poor guy? Leo's sending over him. He says, "Oh my God, Phil." Then we do our flashbacks. We flash. They've brought Simmons onto the carrier. She's unconscious, but the Deathlock technology has defeated the super virus, but she has not been awoken. So Deathlock is going to use neurosomatic stimulation to wake her. Mockingbird says that's experimental. I don't think Gemma cares. If doing that doesn't kill her, if doing that doesn't kill her, it says. It says, this is the end of the line, Bobby. The Deathlock treatment has cured her. Now all we need to do is wake her up. Now I don't know why you couldn't just wait a week. See, let her stew in her coma for a week and then wake her up. But I guess hey, we got to get this book finished. 1 second. Anyway, so we go visit Ward, who's taunting Phil, who's behind bars, and then Maria Hill comes in to talk to him, and then all of a sudden you hear the choom, and then we flash Forward to Phil and Leo and Daisy and we realize that there's like this time differential going on here, who are in a diner because Leo and Daisy have been on the run since last issue. And one second. And Leo and Daisy have been on the run. They're at the diner. Leo and Daisy are not happy to see Phil because because of everything that's going on. But basically, they're going to confront Starkovsky, who of course was part of the conspiracy to try and get what's his name convicted or acquitted. I forget exactly what they wanted. Did they want Barton convicted or acquitted? What did the bad guys want?
I don't remember.
Well, if they wanted him acquitted, they really, I don't know. If they wanted him convicted, they should not, or I don't know. It was just crazy. Anyway, so they go there. They say, we know everything that's going on. Daisy and Phil get confronted by mandroids. Cut back to Simmons, who is tearing apart the Pericles helicarrier as a deathlock. Fight. Fight back in the present as Starkovsky gets out his gun. Phil and Daisy are taking out the mandroids, and they confront Starkovsky, telling him he's under arrest. See Simmons, Deathlock, basically toss around Elektra like a rag doll. They have her cornered. Then Phil basically, does the whole talk her down, gets her out of it. And then she comes to and she's like, what happened to me? What happened to me? And then cut back to the present. Starkovsky's, got them. He says, you can't arrest me. You're just a citizen with a gun. So, and Quake says, well, I'm a private citizen with earthquake powers. So stand the expletive down. And it says, you're not an agent of anything without any legal authority whatsoever. You broke into my home and I defended myself. He shoots Phil. Daisy tosses him to the side with an earthquake power. And Simmons basically comes to. She says, "I can't believe you did this to me." And then Deathlock says, "I know, Gemma. I'm so sorry. Did the only thing I could think of too." He says, "You saved my life. You saved my life, Henry. You saved my life." And she hugs him. And Mockingbird says, "I helped, And then basically, Hill takes Phil aside, says, basically tells him, it's time to return to my cell. And he says, yes, for a little while anyway. Look, this has nothing to do with what you did with Simmons just now. I want to make that clear. I have no interest in ruining your career or your life, Phil. I just need you under control until the superhero civil war resolves itself. You remain in lockup until that time, but then I'll cut you loose and you'll be free to do what you want. And then we see basically him, so long as you stay out of trouble, and that's him there. But of course, now he's in a hospital bed. Sharon Carter, who I'm so glad they're drawing better now. She's just a couple of extra laugh lines, just like an adult woman, like the way they draw Phil, who is also an adult man, although technically their timeline on Phil is all weird in the Marvel Universe. Basically telling him, yeah, we got everything on Starkovsky and all this stuff. And he says, says, accordingly, Director Hill believes she made the wrong call when she terminated you. Says that must have been hard for her to admit. Says, you have no idea. The truth of the matter is there's only one job Phil Coulson is suited for. Professional karaoke? No, Phil. Not professional karaoke. And then the final scene is, of course, Phil leading a team of heroes. And, oh, wow, they're including Ward in the team with his little explosive collar with Deathlock Gemma. I love now that Gemma is a Deathlock in the Marvel Universe. That is awesome. Leo fits with a gun. The other Deathlock, Mockingbird, May, Daisy, and Ward and Phil Coulson. Never the end. Great book written by Mark Guggenheim. Really enjoyed it. Thumbs up. Loved the book. And that was my last on my own, Phil. What else have you got?
All right. Well, I have two on my own. I will start with Deadpool 21, which angered me greatly.
Yes. How much was this book?
It was $9.99, Charlie, $10.
For that book?
Yes. Now, do you see
Just
why
for
I'm
the
angry?
little backstory? That man.
Well, the backstory was bigger than the first story.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh man, and there wasn't even a good payoff in the backstory. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So anyway, what happened in this book, Phil?
Okay, so I'm like, okay, I see it in store it's $10. I'm like, okay, it's extra. I'll get a bunch of decent stories. All right, so the first story is our main story. It starts with two men dressed as Santa Claus robbing a bank, and I guess it's a tradition for because they're revealed to be Deadpool and Hydra Bob. Uh,
Where's Hydra Bob's getaway bike?
I don't know. But Deadpool figures out he has to take care of this Madcap problem, so he goes back to the highway where the original wreck was, where Madcap got his powers, and we kind of get flashbacks to Madcap's origin, and then how he was bonded and he was stuck in Deadpool's head for a while. So then Deadpool goes to see Agent Preston, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "What? An Avenger can't visit his old pals on the Shield helicarrier." And she's like, "Are you even an Avenger anymore? Rumors are the Avengers that Rogers disbanded the Unity Squad." And he's like, "Haven't you heard of the Secret Avengers?" He's like, "Is that still a thing?" He's like, "Maybe that's what we are." And she says she knows he's back sleeping in crime scenes. And then Adsit comes in. He's not too happy with Deadpool still. And just when it looks like Deadpool's gonna take a shield jet, he just ejects out of it. But he lands in I guess Central Park. But then he gets a text from looks like Madcap. He says it's obviously a trap, so he goes to the Central Park Zoo, where Madcap has, I guess, enthralled the employees. He's hypnotized them. So Deadpool has to try to take them down. One of them shoots him with a animal tranquilizer. So Deadpool's trying to fight them off. He does this fastball special with a penguin.
Yeah.
But the employees overpower him. But then Madcap orders them to jump in the tiger cage. So they're getting eaten. But then Deadpool sees that Madcap's back, growing out of the chest of whatever guy's body he's in.
Oh, you don't know whose body that is?
I'm trying to remember. I forget.
No, they didn't show us, but I guarantee you it's Ads.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, because Adsit was wearing the same suit as this guy's wearing, and of course you remember Deadpool saying, "Hey, did Adsit put on weight?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all there. It's all connected, Phil.
And this story ends with Madcap telling Deadpool, "I'm so glad I'm here to watch you die."
Yeah, because that always works.
Yeah. But so then after that was fine. The story was fine, but then I was like, okay, I'll get a bunch of backup stories. Not so. You get one more story. It's like I said, it's bigger than the main story. It's Much Ado About Deadpool. It's a combination.
It doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, they just wanted an excuse to do a. Didn't they have a mini series like this where they did Deadpool and classic stories like Moby Dick and stuff like that?
They did a couple of. I think they did a couple of Deadpool shorts like that. But I don't think they did a lot of major stuff. But here's what's weird about the whole thing. It's 6 different Shakespeare plays. And none of them are really connected in any way. And I was waiting for some kind of fourth wall reveal here. I mean, you get something weird with the what was it was it the librarian or something who tells him to read up on his Shakespeare? I mean, there was some neat stuff, but I was waiting. There was no age of the century moment where suddenly, it fades away. There was no like we got when in the 50th anniversary, where like what was the 50th anniversary or whatever episode where basically they get that he gets he gets the cosmic cube and the Infinity Gauntlet at the same time and gets like double omnipotence, and that's what allows him to break the fourth wall. I mean that's and you got that movement through the thing, and so all that backstory, and this was just like, okay, we're running through some Shakespeare gags, much like the backup story in the last one. It just seemed like, okay, it's interesting, but what are we doing here? Where are we going with this? I mean, it doesn't build on something. It doesn't build out the character in any way. It just gives us a couple of rather pedestrian Shakespeare jokes. I mean, not even like good Shakespeare jokes, but just really pedestrian Shakespeare jokes. And then we get to, okay, and that's that.
Yeah,
and then he goes back to the brothel.
Yeah, I mean, for a $10 book, I mean, the majority of it was this backup story, and I'm just like, it wasn't strong enough to, support a $10 book. It was in 5 acts, 5 different chapters. They should have just did this as, in the next couple issues. We got like each act as a backup in the next couple, and then instead of charging $10, you could have went, you could have did a $4.99 or a $5.99 book even.
Yeah, but I think people would have caught on after a while.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is either
that's how they got you, Phil. That's how they got you.
Either split it up, or they could have made it their own miniseries. I'm surprised they didn't do that, because then they could have like made more money in the long run.
I think the point is that wasn't a strong enough premise for a miniseries.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It wasn't really strong enough for anything, and they just tacked it on here and decided to jack up I'm guessing they probably bought the idea and paid more than they wanted to pay for it, and then just figured, well, we got to get it out here somehow.
Yeah, I swear it seems like every 3 or 4 months now we get like a $10 Deadpool book.
Well, someone keeps buying them, Phil.
Yeah, I know. I'm a glutton. But no, that whole backup thing and the jacking up the price because of it, it's getting a thumb to the side for me this week.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'll give it. I mean, it was a good front story,
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, honestly, I wasn't. I mean, let me put it this way: $4.99 for Ms. Marvel to get the extra Red Widow story. I was like, really? First off, you made me buy an advertisement for another product, which was the Red Widow novel. It made me pay for it. You gotta love. Marvel is the Donald Trump of comic books. They're gonna put in extras. They're gonna put an ad for something in their book and make you pay for it. But man, this Deadpool thing. It's just. But like I said, someone keeps buying these books. I myself am really over the whole Deadpool thing. It's like,
well, they're oversaturating the market.
Yeah, man. I hope Harley's doing better over at DC. Because they like recently declared Harley like the 4th pillar of the of DC Comics. Now it's like Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
and I'm sure anyone who looks at it go, really, Harley Quinn?
I told you they want her to be their Deadpool.
Yeah, but man, it's like, yeah. But Deadpool's not like the 4th pillar of Marvel. I don't think anyone really thinks that. I mean, yeah, he's. And they throw him around a lot, but he's mostly a joke book, I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's move on from there, Phil. Let's go on to happier times. What's your next book?
Well, my last one on my own is Spider-Man Deadpool number 10.
Yeah, I browsed this one a bit.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of weird. Well, you said you browsed it. Did you? I don't know if you got in depth enough for it, but did you? I don't know. I had a theory.
Do I know who the villain is? No. All I can say, you're going to ask, do I know who the villain is?
No.
The answer is, all I know is that he's apparently a character from the 90s. They definitely pushed that. So if there was a guy who died in the 90s who had some ties to Spider-Man and Deadpool, that's who it is.
I've been racking my brain, but I can't think of anyone who I can't remember that anyone who had a
Oh, who? What? No, who you're thinking?
Oh, back in the 90s when Deadpool got his first ongoing series, in issue I think it was issue 11. They did like a Deadpool and Blind Owl got accidentally thrown back in time, and they actually got stuck in like old Spider-Man story,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just and it was a fun story. I wish you could read it. It just it was a Craven story. So Deadpool ends up fighting Craven and making all these loincloth jokes and stuff, and how close he is to animals and stuff. But no,
But no actual character in it.
well, no, the character I do think of, Deadpool finds out someone who was close to him in that series, I guess, was in school, or I guess was in college with Peter Parker back then.
Oh,
It was Weasel.
Weasel.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Pop goes the Weasel.
yeah, but I thought Weasel was like alive and well. I can't remember the last time we saw him, but I thought we saw him not too long ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's the only connection I can think of between Spider-Man and Deadpool from the 90s. Does anyone else have any thoughts? Emails.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So we're going to have to see what's going on with Weasel. We have to Wikipedia that stuff.
So, yes. So I don't know if, like, I had this theory, like, last issue, and I think they're proving it more and more, is, like, I don't know if Deadpool and Spider-Man are switching personalities, or if they're, like, mind linked now or something, because Deadpool's sitting around acting all serious, it seems like, and Spider-Man's sitting there playing video games, and
Yeah.
he even says, "I'm starting to see things from your, perspective, Wade."
Yeah. Well, although that might make a point about the final scene, and maybe Deadpool in his more lucid state is the one who realized it. And you know what I'm referring to?
What? I'm not sure if I do.
He says, once your healing factor kicks in, and Spider-Man says, "Well, I don't have a healing factor."
Oh, yeah.
The bomb goes off, but Deadpool's figured out that maybe Spider-Man currently does.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Huh. But yeah, before what is it? Patient Zero can reveal his identity. He gets killed by Itsy Bitsy.
Yes. And again, like I'm saying, that might even tie into Itsy Bitsy, because Pop goes the Weasel, So maybe that's an intentional call out. So yeah, we're going to go on Wikipedia tonight, see if Weasel is actually dead.
I don't think he's dead, but I didn't think he looked like Patient Zero. I thought he was still normal. I don't know. Yeah, the last couple issues of this have been a little confusing, but I still enjoyed it a lot more than that other Deadpool issue this week. It's a thumbs up for me.
Well, there we go. So that's a selling point. Okay, let's move on to our 4 final books together. Where do you want to start, Phil?
You want to do Civil War 2 number 6?
Yeah, I guess we might as well. You want me to do this one?
Sure.
Okay, and this was only $4.99. So a hard cardstock cover and everything.
Yeah.
But so we open it up. We're in that. I don't know if we're still in the future vision here or what, but everyone, Captain Marvel's saying ceasefire. I said ceasefire. It says, Rocket wants to shoot Spider-Man, and they're like, the poor kid, and Tony and Carol, and then I guess I can't tell if we're just keeping getting flashbacks to this with the blood and the Superman or the Captain America shield shattered, the Capitol building collapsed. And it says, and then of course Carol and Tony fight, and the teenagers are like, "This is nuts. What's going on?" Yada yada. And then of course we get the scene that we've seen. We're going to see once more. We've already seen once before, which is Cap basically kneeling down and, talking to Spider-Man, telling him to put his mask back on, that it's important. And he says, "If you want to go home, then go home. We'll figure it out." And, Cap basically tells Carol, this is, he has the right to go home if he wants to. And, Carol's saying, but we can keep him safe here and make sure that it says he didn't do anything wrong, just like Bruce didn't do anything wrong, just like Rhodey didn't do anything wrong. Thor goes to take him home, flies off, and then Ms. Marvel actually stops Carol with her again not unstable molecule shirt arm that totally wraps around Carol. We see everyone gearing up, and then you hear Carol just says, "Oh no, I'm sorry." T'Challa says, "Stop." Says, "If you fire on them, you have to go through me. This is T'Challa's big betrayal." Says, "If you attack me, you attack the kingdom of Wakanda." And we get, oh no, and Doctor Strange magically teleports everyone out, and then Lockjaw takes all the Inhumans and runs. And Spider-Man sees everybody running, and he just needs to stop, and he's reliving the moment, seeing the blood on his hands. And then we cut to New Atlan. We see Ulysses with his main gun looking into infinity, and infinity is looking back. Rocket's basically telling Carol they owe him a ship, and a real ship, not one of these Earth-based fossil fuel. Says we'll figure something out. Blue Marvel shows up and says, "Actually, Blue Marvel, can you do us a favor? Can you get that ship out into a safer place before it flaboom? Well, we're all crashing with you till you cough up a new ship." Peter Quill basically tells him, much like we had previously seen, this in the Guardians of the Galaxy, you did right. I was going to tell you you're doing right. I got a little taste of this kind of thing when I was running my other home planet. You can stop something bad from happening, you do it. Boo-hoo, if someone gets hurt, gets their feelings hurt, the bigger pictures, that's what you have to fight for. I am Groot. And I think we see Kitty not sure if she's on the right side. They go to the old barbershop S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. Tony and Doc Strange are like facial hair bros, way to go. He's like, I'm a little spent. And the champions are all like, let's blow this pop stand.
Yep.
Yep, they ain't playing anymore. And they're like, they're going to go find their friend, I'm sure, and probably keep him away from us. And I hate to say it, but that isn't exactly what Rhodey would say, but hey, it's your call, Cap. And Spider-Man's. And then we cut to an interesting scene here. We see, so I'm trying to figure out what this, okay, that's what that is. Okay, I see, okay. So Carol's looking out over the abyss of the city, and she flashes back to Rhodey dying, flashes back to Bruce Banner dying. Oh, are they putting green in his eyeball there? Man, I'm trying to get the... Yeah, look, in his pupil. Is that supposed to be a little bit of green flecking there? I don't know. Maybe. Hell says, you shouldn't be here. We're not sure the building is structurally sound anymore. Jean Grey is basically, she's looking out at the city that is still standing because of some really tough choices she's made. She's more than allowed. And just, come on, don't read my mind, Jean Grey. I actually wasn't. Oh, sorry. Of course, every other time she is. So, fair cop. Basically, they found Spider-Man, and Maria came out to tell her they found Spider-Man. And where is Spider-Man, Phil?
At the Capitol building.
Yeah, just waiting for whatever's going to happen next. What's going to happen next, Phil?
Are we gonna get? Are we gonna get that prediction?
Well, I don't know. We're gonna see.
Well, I'd have thought. Do you think maybe Ulysses? Maybe he wasn't even aware of it before, but now maybe Ulysses can see the future, and then maybe he kind of gives it a little push to make sure it goes that way somehow.
There's two things, because we see when we get to All Different Avengers, which is basically another Thor book. Because there's really no other Avengers in here, right? Yeah, just Thor, and then we actually get a flashback to some other Avengers.
Yep.
Did I lose you, Phil?
No, you're here.
Okay. Oh, no, just my phone switched off. Okay. Or just flipped scenes. So what book do you want to do next?
Let's do Steve Rogers because it kind of intertwined with this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, they all kind of intertwine in their own ways. So, you want to do this one or?
Yeah, I'll do this one. It opens up in the 1928 Steve Rogers Remembers,
Mm-hmm.
and we see Hydra. Well, there's a progress report on Steve, and
He's
you,
not doing it.
no, he's not the strongest kid. And the recommendation is that they euthanize him
Yeah.
because Steve Rogers will never amount to anything.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, then they flash to the present, and we see that scene from the Civil War we just talked about, where everyone gets the vision of Miles killing Steve Rogers, and then we get Tony Stark and Carol Danvers in each other's faces, and Steve telling them to back down, and him talking to Miles, crouching down like you were talking about.
Yeah, and you almost get what seems like good old classic Cap, really trying to, really being the hero and the leader.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So then I guess as Doctor Strange is teleporting them away, we get a flashback to 1934, and Steve Rogers is trying to run away.
Mm-hmm.
But he runs into the Kraken. Is this a
character? Kinder, gentler Kraken. Yes.
Is this a character? I'm trying to remember. He looks familiar. I thought.
Yeah, the Kraken is how they normally draw a Kraken now. Is he's actually a Wolverine villain mostly.
Uh-huh.
And he's like a mutant and he's blind.
Okay.
But he's got like super ninja skills kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was but that's who that's who he's supposed to be, although he's in a different uniform here. So maybe this is Golden Age Kraken.
But yeah, so then back in the present, it's like you were saying in Civil War II, they get back to the barbershop, Shield base, and this is from Steve's point of view, seeing everyone looking at him. He said, first it looks like suspicion, but it's sympathy. And then it's Steve and Tony talking, and basically, I mean, reading between the lines, it's Steve trying to knock Tony off his game,
Well, yeah, we see that, but we don't get that until the very end.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, it's just like it seems like classic Steve, hey pal, and I gotta say, what's different this time? What are you doing? It's like nothing is out of character for how Steve would be, and then you get to it, and he's like, it's good to advise tomorrow's an important day, and this is how I need you to be, Tony. Off balance, questioning yourself.
Have you been drinking?
Oh, yes. I thought you were asking me. I was saying, of course. Yes. But when was the last time he had a drink? Which, of course, is one of those things that puts him on edge because his triggers have triggers, as we saw from previous Iron Man book. Mm-hmm. And back in the Shield carrier, we have properly drawn Carol. Not Carol, Sharon with Maria Hill and Rick Jones, and nobody wants to listen to Rick Jones.
But he tracks down Spider-Man.
Back to 1934. And again, we're kinder, gentler Kraken.
They basically telling Steve that Elisa believes in him, and she believes he'll be the greatest among them, and he's like, she's a liar. She did something to my mother. So he tells him, together we can save the world.
Yep.
And then back in the present, yes, Selvig tells Steve, you have to kill Spider-Man before he can kill you, and Steve says no. He says he saw something in the vision no one else saw, because he says, I saw the world around me. Spider-Man may very well take my life on the Capitol steps. I can't deny that, but it won't happen tomorrow. And when he does, then it will be worth it, because it will be for the glory of Hydra.
Bum bum bum.
So I found that he's ready to die for the cause.
Well, yeah, but not before he kills someone else, I'm sure.
No.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah. So you want to do Ultimates 12, our final issue of the Ultimates, or Avengers 15?
We could do Ultimates 12.
Okay.
The last issue until Ultimates 2 starts next month.
Yes. So we open up with Philip Nelson Voigt giving his field dissertation. And then we come to the Anti-Man falling through space, falling through the superflow, falling through the neutral zone, and then to whatever is outside. Who is caged eternity. I tried to tell them, but they can't see like I do, can't hear. They're caught in reality, stuck in the flow of time. And who could stand knowing? What could bear knowing that all hope was gone, that we're trapped in darkness? Who could see eternity in chains and smile? No human mind can take it. We break. I broke. I lost control and killed people. Then I did it again. I belong out here in the nothing where I can't hurt anyone else. And if I die here, no Connor Sims. Everything lives. Galactus the Lifebringer, Cedar of Worlds. Carol, she's at the White House waiting area, talking to Garrett. She's basically saying, Alpha Flight's going to keep on, but no, the Ultimates are shut down because we're making nice with Canada. And then, talking about T'Challa's betrayal, and then we see T'Challa coming up with his guards, being walked to the White House as Mr. Garrett, always a pleasure, Your Highness, Colonel T'Challa. And off he goes on his merry way, the man who murdered the Ultimates. And so, well, if he did, Carol Danvers, he had a lot of help. We flashback to the Triskelion, which has been destroyed. Says a spaceship flew into our headquarters and blew it up. Actually, now that I say it out loud, pretty believable, isn't it? Just another day in the life, I'm afraid. If anything, we should count our blessings. And basically see that not Carol, but Monica and Adam having a real May December romance there, buddy. But, he's got immortality superpowers, so it's not like he's that much older. I mean, But actually, it's still May December. He's got the Reed Richards graying temples thing going, so, But, hey, he's still built like a brick house, so. And then Carol, so they go off to explore a semi-sentient nebula out on the outskirts of space-time. And then we see Kate Bishop and America Chavez and Lisa Halloran, recently qualified paramedic girlfriend, hanging out. And then you see Ms. America's got her game face on because Carol walked in, says, "Can we just talk?" They go to another dimension where they can talk. She wants to show him what happened in another universe where they did do the pre-crime. And she's like, "But I would never bring a world like this into being. America never." Says, "I know you never would." Says, "But sooner or later, the next guy comes along. Ready when you are, Cap." This is if you want the truth, I figured punching a couple thousand Doc Dooms would help you get some frustrations out. Because obviously in this world, Dr. Dooms caught Ulysses and used him to take over the world. So they make peace and they go back to our universe, and then Voight basically is talking to the president, and that for more visible work, the classic super spy arrangement a la S.H.I.E.L.D., they've recruited my old friend Bobby DaCosta, but for the work in the shadows, they'd prefer to call in the troubleshooters. And so we got a bunch of new universe characters apparently who now have always existed in the Marvel universe. And then we see Galactus say, "No, that will not do. They mean well, perhaps, but these humans are untested, tempered only in earthly fires. And there's a greater war on the horizon, a war even I cannot fight." And again, this talk of the war on the horizon that the Maker mentioned, the war that he would unite the multiverse to fight. Man, Marvel is... Oh, Secret Wars 2 is coming. The Return of Frank.
It would be like Secret Wars 4 or something.
Yeah, Secret Wars 52.
Oh.
Yes. A war even I cannot fight alone. He says, please, I can't take any more. I've seen too much. What is seen cannot be unseen. I'm sorry, Connor Sims. I cannot take your knowledge from you, but I can give you what you need to survive. Drink deep of the cup I offer. Pass beyond your fear and embrace the infinite. Let what you were be burned away in the fires of your highest self. I bring you cosmic evolution. Absolution. Rise, rise and be reborn. First, herald of life. Now seek out those who will follow. Bring me the five to rescue all that is. Bring me the ultimates. Only the beginning to be continued this November, which is just next month, as you would normally get it, in Ultimates 2, number 1. And it looks like it's the same group of guys, even Black
Yep.
Panther, who was such a jerk in the last issue. Uh, but the five plus Anti-Man and Galactus go battle, whatever. Yay! Ultimates. Still loving the book. Thumbs up. What do you think of it for an end of the first half of the series?
It was good. I don't know if they had to renumber it, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. What do you think? He made Connor Sims the first
First Herald of Life.
Herald of Life. Yes, interesting.
Yeah. Well, sure. That's not going to come back to bite him in the butt.
Oh, of course not.
No. He can't do any worse in the job than the Silver Surfer did.
Oh, please, Fire Lord was worse than Silver Surfer.
Yeah. They all pale to Nova, man. Good old Frankie Ray.
Yep.
I miss her. Okay, and that brings us to our last book together, Phil.
All new, all different Avengers 15.
Yes, Thor 13 and a half. You want to go through this?
Yeah, like you said, it's mostly a Thor book because she goes to Asgard to ask Heimdall's advice about being able to see the. She's I don't know, thinking about this whole Ulysses thing. So she asked Heimdall about seeing the future. I didn't know he could see the future. I thought he could just see like anywhere in the present. I didn't know he had like future
no.
vision.
What he says is you can see all of space and time, which means he can look to the past. He can look through that. But what he says is why doesn't he like to look at the future?
Because once he looks at the future, whatever he sees gets locked in as that's what happens.
He alters the result by measuring it.
Yep.
He brings the quantum vortices into alignment. And, Thor's trying to be all big and bad. Says, come on, man. Tell my friends what I want to tell them. Boo-ba-da-boo-da-boo.
Oh, yeah. The original Thor, yes. So,
yeah, they do a flashback to the early Avengers when they first fought
Dr.
some
Doom.
guy. Dr. Doom.
Because they wanted to know if they should go into this country that asked for help, but could be construed as an act of war, yada yada. But they go in to help, and because Doom's after what was the name of that mineral or element?
Oh, they come up with a fake name for it.
Yeah, because it's something you never heard of, and by the end of
the Molinite. The Molinite.
Yeah, the Molinite, yeah. And by the end of the issue, you find out why you didn't ever hear of this element before.
Yes.
Because because the Avengers beat Doom, but he renders it all inert. So this country's economy crashes, and they have to survive. They have to be annexed by Latveria and Doom.
Yes. But of course, he says it's an alchemical process with which he and hey, didn't Doom try to do this whole thing with freaking Wakanda a couple weeks back?
I'm sure he's done it many times.
Yeah, just redoing his old shtick. Anyway, although I think it's important that it's an alchemical process because that means that once he took over the country, he could probably turn it all back into what it was. But he then controls all the Molinite for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Bum, bum, bum. But that we'll get that later. And basically, what it was is, as Heimdall had told them, they will win the battle, but they will not defeat Doom, and Doom will be triumphant, and Doom was. And this is, yeah.
I was gonna say my favorite line in this issue was when Thor made Heimdall laugh. She says, about how Odin tried to teach the original Thor humility. She's like, I'm going to turn you into a successful Manhattan physician to teach you a lesson. Probably wasn't what Odin was going for in retrospect.
Yeah, well, he is Thor's father. They don't always think these things through.
Oh yeah, that Odin shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, we found out that Heimdall knows the truth.
Yeah, and then so Thor takes off. I don't know. It was a good issue. It was a thumbs up for me, but didn't it seem kind of anticlimactic for like a final issue?
Well, yeah, because it's a tie-up issue. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's sort of like the Ultimates too. It was like, it tied up some threads. It was basically a filler issue because they just need something to end on. Because it's like we're not going to start another adventure unless we had timed our adventure to end in October. We're kind of done. It's like okay, well we already finished our arc. I don't even know what the last all new, all different Avengers arc was, but I think they basically just been doing some piecemeal books here and there. But yeah, and that's how you end it. It's like, okay, this is where they give basically, Thor's final tale, and well, not her final tale because she's going to go on. She comes back in Mighty Avengers, I think next month.
Avengers.
I'm sorry?
It's playing Avengers #1, and it's next week.
Yeah, actually, it's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's next week? Oh, yes, it is next week. Yes. With Hercules. And
Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
And Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be good. Everyone likes Peter Parker. Okay. So that was one more really long, really exciting adventure in Marvel Comics.
All right.
So you want to talk us out?
Yeah. Send us your thoughts on these books or anything we're not reading. We tell you this every week. We love interacting with you. So send us your emails because we have a bunch of emails for Super Connectivity. Even one from a young lad named Charlie Esser. But so if you want to email us, you can email us at marvelroundup@gmail.com. On Facebook, we are All New Marvel Roundup. Our Twitter is @Marvel_Roundup. And we are even on Instagram. Check out the memes I've been trying to put up Monday through Friday. But and you can always discuss any of this Marvel stuff or DC Comics even with me. NightwingPDP@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm @NightwingPDP. And if you love me, if you love Charlie Esser, if you love our friends, check out the Legends of DC podcast. I also do Before the Bat. And heck, just check out everything on the Nuff Said feed. It's not just us. It's all good stuff. So please check that out. And Charlie?
Well, you can write to me in that old-fashioned email way at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on Twitter @Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Okay.
All right. Well, come back next week. It's a little smaller week because, like I said, this month shouldn't be too bad because there's 5 Wednesdays. But a lot of #1s next week. Avengers #1, Occupy Avengers #1, and Unworthy Thor #1.
Yeah.
So come back. If you read them, we record this on a Friday. If you get them on the books on Wednesday, email us your thoughts. We will read them. But until then, stay humble, people. Don't sell out like that man whore Deadpool. But $10 a book. Jeez. All right, let's get out of here. Good night, everyone.
Good night.